Hey, what's going on YouTube? So today I'm going to showcase a 1-bar Oakensoul build for the Magicka Warden, also known as Magden. This build is capable of pulling over 86k on the parse dummy. This build is not a solo build and is optimized for group content. I will be using mythics and trial gear, so this is not a super beginner friendly build, but rather more for endgame players who prefer 1-bar builds. Keep in mind that this build is set up with trial gear, but there will be a gear alternative section to mix and match whatever sets you may have access to. With that being said, here's the build. Starting off in the character sheet, I have 64 points in a Magicka, and I'm running the Thief Mundus. For the race, I'm a High Elf. I think High Elves have some of the best passives for Magicka DPS. For the food, we're going to be opting to run Clockwork Citrus Fillet for any hard content. A cheaper and easier to acquire alternative would be Witch Mother's Potent Brew, and lastly, if you're parsing or need more sustain, then Ghastly Eyeball is always the go-to. For the potions, since we're using Oakensoul, we just opt to use Essence of Magicka. Keep in mind that we do not need to use Essence of Spell Power because Oakensoul provides major sorcery and major prophecy for us, so we can just opt to use that instead. Another good option is using Tri-Stat potions because they'll give us health and stamina as well, so that's another option to consider. So for CP, for the blue tree, we're going to be running Exploiter, Master at Arms, Deadly Aim, and Wrathful Strikes. For the red tree, Rejuvenation, and everything else is content dependent or personal preference. For the gear, we're going to be running 5 pieces of Pillar Nirn paired with 5 pieces of Whirl of Depths and 1 piece Oakensoul and 1 piece Slime Crawl. So breaking down in the main hand, we have a Pillar Nirn Dagger in Nirnhone with a flame damage enchant, and the offhand Charge with a poison damage enchant. For the head, we have 1 piece of Slime Crawl in medium traded in Divines with a max mag enchant. For 1 piece of the body, we have Pillar Nirn. This is going to be in Divines with a max mag enchant. For the rest of the body, we have 5 pieces of Whirl of Depths, all traded in Divines with max mag enchants. And for the jewelry, we have 2 pieces of Pillar Nirn jewelry, both traded in Bloodthirsty with spell damage enchants. And lastly, the Oakensoul ring, which is Bloodthirsty with the spell damage enchant as well. For the skills, we're going to be running Subterranean Assault, Screaming Cliff Racer, Deadly Cloak, Fetcher Infection, Winner's Revenge, and our ultimate Wild Guardian. So for the rotation, we're going to be casting our Subterranean Assault every 6th skill. Keep up your dots dynamically. These are Winner's Revenge, Deadly Cloak, and Fetcher Infection. And then your spammable is going to be your Screaming Cliff Racer. And whenever your ultimate Wild Guardian is ready, just use it whenever. So for closing thoughts, first up, for your flex spot, Deadly Cloak is probably going to be your flex spot. If you want to go at range, you can drop the 2 daggers and go either Inferno or Ice Staff, and then substitute a different skill for Deadly Cloak. A good skill to note would probably be Unstable Wall, although Elemental Susceptibility is pretty strong right now as well. In terms of actual DPS, I think Brittledins might be the better choice to go. I do have a 1-bar Oakensoul Brittledin build that I'll leave in the description, but that's a good alternative if you want to run something like that. So for gear alternatives, instead of running Whirl and Pillar, you can opt to run different sets. Some good sets would be Bosse is still good if you can control your Magicka. Sororia is really strong still if you don't mind being semi-stationary. Advancing Yokeda can work if you're using daggers. Coral Riptide and Reliquin for a hybrid build wouldn't be a bad idea either. If you are going to opt to use Coral Riptide, you're going to have to figure out a way to burn your stamina, which may be possible on some builds, but not on others. Aegis Collar is also a really good AoE set. It's not as hard hitting as Reliquin, but it is still a good option. And lastly, if you want a super budget build, then Order's Wrath and Julianos would be a perfect fit. And that wraps up the build explanation section of this portion. As always, thank you for watching my video. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. Or better yet, come join our Discord. Link is in the description. As a reminder, if this video helped in any way, please help the channel grow by subscribing and liking the video. I will also have a written guide in the description for those who would prefer that. And lastly, I've also started a channel membership for those who like to go the extra step to help support me so I can focus on more content creation. And as always, feel free to stick around for the attached parse. If not, have a good day and see you in the next one.